name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to Scorsese Month. Throughout the month of November, going to be covering four Martin Scorsese movies I've never seen before in retrospective honor of Killers of the Flower Moon, which is now out in theaters. I've already covered The King of Comedy and Casino in this series. Playlist link in the eye in the right-hand corner if you would like to check that out. But for right now, let's dive into the movie that netted Martin Scorsese a couple Oscars, The Departed. It was released in 2006, and it starred Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, and literally tons of others. That's just off the top of my head. This is like one of Scorsese's more stacked casts in terms of actors. But I couldn't talk about this movie alone. I had to get someone to talk about it with me. So here's 1/3 of the Small Talk podcast, Matt Wyatt. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to get into The Departed. We talked about this a while back, that it's my favorite Scorsese movie. It's most rewatchability. I mean, I remember watching it when my brother and my mom rented it at the Blockbuster, and they were watching a bit of it. And I got into it a little bit, but then I fell off of it until years later, until I became an adult in my early 20s. I watched it and was like, oh my God, how did I not get into this years ago? This movie's incredible.
I distinctly remember people kind of looking down on this one because people were like, oh, they gave the Oscar to Scorsese for this and not Goodfellas, Casino, and all these others. I'm like, now that I've seen it, I'm like, The Departed is a more than worthy entry in Scorsese's filmography. Like, Goodfellas is mint, Casino is mint. Let's not get that twisted. So is The Departed. It can be room for more than one great film in a director's filmography, guys. Like, come on.
Yeah, because we've seen a lot of movies that we wanted to get nominated for an Oscar, and most of them don't make it into the contender slot. Because most of the people who are involved in the Oscars, they're doing the voting on which one they decided to win. And it's so crazy that they're like, oh my God, why did you not pick this movie? This deserves it.
I think the example people use is when Al Pacino won his Oscar for Scent of a Woman. People kind of looked at that and go, really? That movie got him his Oscar and felt more like a thank you for your service kind of thing. But I think it's a little bit unfair with The Departed because now that I've seen it, it's an excellent movie. And it's actually a remake based on an Asian movie called Infernal Affairs. It's actually purchased for just like not even $2 million, $1.75 million. And Scorsese loved the script so much, he's like, yep, that is mine. And originally, in my research, come to find out the Sullivan character is played by Matt Damon. He was supposed to be played by Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt would end up being one of the producers of the movie, but he actually stepped back and just took on the producer's role, and he recommended Matt Damon for the role.
So Brad Pitt was supposed to take Matt Damon's role in the movie.
Pretty much,
Is that what you're saying? Oh my God. How cool would that have been if it was Brad Pitt in that role? That would have been insane if it was instead of Matt Damon.
Yeah, his reasoning was that he wanted somebody to feel more like he lived in Boston. I mean, you can't get more Boston than Matt Damon.
Oh yeah, because you don't know if he can pull off the Boston accent like Matt Damon can.
I mean, like Good Will Hunting, and like you got like that whole thing pretty much like Boston, like scrunched into like 91 hour 45 minutes is Good Will Hunting, right?
Yeah, but also because also in this movie they've made you feel like that you're in Boston, and if it was a living character, which when you look back on this movie, you don't get movies like that now today when it comes to like mixture of a cop movie but also a mafia film.
We get both sides of the coin. We get the cops and we get the mob side of things. And let's talk about some of the cops first. The main cop that we follow is Leonardo DiCaprio. He basically goes undercover and infiltrates the Irish mob, which is led by Jack Nicholson. Leonardo DiCaprio goes through it in this movie. He starts out like kind of like a fresh face to like gonna do anything, and then by the end you're just like, dude, you are in rough shape. It's brutal to watch, but DiCaprio predictably pulls it off.
Oh, 100%. He definitely does, because you've seen that Mark Wahlberg is actually like asking him a lot of questions and how messed up he really is, because he's got a lot of like shady background checking, and he's all about being somebody else. And that's why that he was the perfect for the job to go undercover with Costello. Yeah, Martin Sheen is in it too. You keep forgetting that he's in the film too. Oh my God. You got so many stacked ensemble. It's insane.
Yeah, as Queenan, and he's a good character too. I mean, Martin Sheen, of course, but then you got like Alec Baldwin, which I mean, say what you will about him, at least that's a big name to have in here. You also got Ray Winstone, rest in peace, recently departed as Frenchie. He was good. Vera Farmiga was someone who I did not expect to see in this as the therapist. She was good
Right.
as well, but when I saw her, I was like, this isn't a Conjuring movie. What is this?
This isn't Godzilla King of the Monsters. What the hell's going on, guys? This introduction, like it might have been into the party because this was like before I saw this another crime thriller movie with Paul Walker called Running Scared. I don't know if you've ever seen that film. Yeah, she's playing the girlfriend, Paul Walker's girlfriend in the film. It's very underrated and very chaotic and intense.
What's it called? Running Scared?
Yeah, Running Scared.
I'll have to look that up. But yeah, she was very good in the movie, and basically, she is like at the ley line between because the movie's main characters essentially are DiCaprio and Damon. Because
Yeah,
Damon
yeah,
is
they're two rats. One of them is following the rat of Costello's rat from as a police officer. Then we see DiCaprio being deep undercover and being the spy from the cops in Costello's mafia.
and Vera Farmiga's character is shacking up with both of them, and it
I
gets
know
really
that's a little
complicated.
bit of a love triangle, an unexpected love triangle.
Yeah, and it works. And I think one of the more effective scenes in the movie is near the end, where she reveals to Matt Damon that she's pregnant, and come to find out that basically he's not who he says he is, and is like playing like the footage that DiCaprio gives to her secretly. It's a good scene.
Oh yeah, a good scene. Yeah, she finds out that Matt Damon is actually a rat in the police department. That was a crazy reveal that DiCaprio did on purpose to send that tape, send that disc to her, and that audio recording that Costello had that recording because he was wired because he was a protective informant from the FBI, and that was his insurance in case something were to happen to him, and he can give his people up.
And then at the funeral, like she doesn't even give him the time of day. Is like about the baby. She's like, "You are nothing to me."
Yeah, but one question. There's a little speculation that I've been thinking for a while. What if that's not Matt Damon's kid? Because you got to remember, early on when we saw DiCaprio and her together, they were going at it. They were getting busy. So I believe that might be DiCaprio's kid and not Matt Damon's. I mean, you got to do the math.
That's a good theory, to be completely honest. And I was kind of leaning that way as well. I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think we will ever truly know unless we ask Martin Scorsese himself, which I don't think we'll ever get the chance to. So all we can do is just armchair quarterback this thing.
It's up for interpretation.
That's true. But we'll talk about the ending in just a bit. Let's talk about Jack Nicholson for a minute because my God, he must have been having the time of his life doing this. Like his character is scary, but also surprisingly compelling and also kind of funny in bits. There's this random scene where like Matt Damon's in this porn theater and he like sneaks up on like, he being Nicholson sneaks up on him with
With a black dildo sex toy dildo right in front of Matt Damon. Does a
yeah.
little bit of surprise.
Yeah, that. And Matt Damon reacts how we all would react. Like, what are you doing?
So what the hell? What the fuck?
It's so
And he thought that was not a good idea to meet in the theaters. Like, why would you meet? Then why would you think it was a bad idea? I own the place. I was like, that makes sense.
but his character, I learned in my research, was actually inspired by an actual Irish mafia leader, James Whitey Bulger. Watch the movie Black Mass, all of you out there, with Johnny Depp, if you want more
Oh,
info on that. That's a very good mob movie, but another story for another time. Nicholson is really good, like I mentioned. His introduction is really good as well. Like in the opening where we see younger Matt Damon, we don't see Nicholson's face. It's in the shadows because de-aging was not a thing back then, but you just know that this is a really long time ago. And he actually pays for Matt Damon's groceries and gives him some comic books, which was ironic considering who directed this movie, like food, among other things. And just like having this knowledge in the back of his head that when this kid grows up, he's going to pay it forward. And he did.
yeah, becoming his rat, becoming his spy.
Or not pay it forward, but pay it back. Nicholson was paying it forward.
Yeah,
He was paying
and
it back.
and you already know that the people around the town they all fear him. That they all fear him. They're giving him a bunch of supplies for the kid, food, comic books. and he was basically recruiting younger folks to join his crew.
Low key, it was kind of like Fanucci from The Godfather Part Two, the dude in white, where he was like, "Let me wet my beak," a little bit like going from business to business, taking his share. I don't know, Matt, if you're picking up what I'm putting down there.
Are you talking about? You're talking about the Godfather, right?
Godfather Part Two, Fanucci, the
Oh,
bigger.
yeah, it's been a while. I've only seen Godfather 2 only one time, and it's been years ago. I had to rewatch it to refresh my memory. But yeah, I get what you're talking about.
All right, yeah, fair enough. But long story short, like like Costigan is basically the Fanucci of this world. He runs everything. He keeps super quiet about it, but everybody fears him. And Nicholson just he crushed it every time. But I just love how off balance the movie just makes you feel because they said follows two rats. DiCaprio, who's a rat infiltrating the mob on behalf of the cops, and Matt Damon is vice versa. Both have their own issues going on. They don't meet until the very last, or not the very last scene, but one of the last scenes of the movie. And it's endlessly compelling. The closest they come before the ending is a scene where they're chasing each other in the alleys of Boston, but they don't know who they're chasing. So they have a feeling, but they just don't know. And they almost never meet. And there's a whole scene with it's low key one of my favorite scenes where after everything has gone down, Costigan is dead, and DiCaprio and Damon talk to each other on the phone. They've never met. And so there's this deal of, okay, who can you really trust here? And you just know in the back of your mind, you can't trust anybody. It's so good. It really is.
Yeah, it's so good. The moment he starts seeing the phone ring and the caller ID came from Queenan, and when he was like dead, like someone is taking the dead man's phone. It was like, oh my god, what the hell is going to happen? Like he's full, like he's just anxious and very full of anxiety. Doesn't know if he should pick up the phone or not. And when he does, he needed to ask a question. Like, you're calling from a dead man's phone. What the hell? That conversation between him and Matt Damon, like, it's starting to add more tension and add a lot of great suspense.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg is an actor that doesn't get nearly the respect that I think he deserves. Everyone respects him, thinks he's a good actor, but there's some degree of, hey, what are you doing over there? Take an interest in science, like The Happening and Ted and all these other things. He absolutely is one of the best parts of this movie because he just doesn't care. He grills everybody. Like he sees right through DiCaprio, like from scene one. And it kind of plays into the ending, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But what, like, you talk about Nicholson, DiCaprio, Damon, Wahlberg is right there, and he absolutely he deserves his flowers. I guess that's my point.
He steals the spotlight. He's the best part of the movie. And like, yeah, like you said, he sees right through them by the time they meet face to face. And he doesn't hold back. He's always ripping on them all the time, but that's just his style. Just like Martin Sheen said, like, that's the style and we're gonna have to get used to it.
Pretty much, yeah. It captures the whole ball buster mentality, but it's done in a way to where you need to keep up with it. And if you break once, then they're gonna be on you. They're gonna be on top of you.
Oh yeah, and Mark Wahlberg was always on top of things, and he had his suspicions with Matt Damon's character too. Like there's something off about him, and he's not holding back. He knows he's not going to like him from the moment he meets him.
But this ending has got to be like one of the more tense endings in a Scorsese movie. You got DiCaprio finally cracking and then just going sort of rogue after Queenan's death, getting the footage, basically blackmailing Damon's character. Damon freaks out. They have that scene on the roof. Great scene. Then they get in the elevator and Damon's like, just kill me. Like, just fucking kill me. And I'm just like, yeah, this dude knows he's going to jail. And then DiCaprio just pretty much gets shot right in the head, which is a meme because of the whole "ooh, what you say," like that whole thing. It's funny in that context, but even though I was expecting it, I also wasn't expecting it because it's so sudden. It's just like DiCaprio's there and then he's gone. It's so
Out of the
brilliant.
nowhere, bullet to the brain. It was unexpected when I first saw it. I was like, what the hell? You're going to kill off the protagonist in this movie? Like, Martin Scorsese was very ballsy by killing off protagonist and not going for that predictable ending where the good guy catches the bad guy and gets him arrested, set him in jail, and expose him. But that was not it. It just there's a lot of headshots going around one another.
And then Anthony Anderson, Damon's partner, shows up. He gets shot. Then James Badge Dale shows up. He gets shot. Like
Yeah, Matt
Damon,
Damon's partner, who turns out to be Costello's rat too. He wasn't the only one.
yeah, that was a twist and a half, but I think it worked. And then there's the funeral. Then Damon's like, I recommend DiCaprio's character for the Medal of Valor. I'm like, oh, you piece of crap. Like, why would you? And
What a
then
dick.
the funeral, and then pretty much the one of the best Scorsese endings ever, where like Damon walks in with the bag of groceries, which is a nice full circle moment from the beginning of the movie where he's got a bag of groceries. Then Wahlberg shows up dressed like how I assume everyone dressed in April of 2020, just full body, like quarantine suit almost without the mask. And then Damon's like, okay. And then Wahlberg's just like, and then he walks out. When I first saw that, I was like, wait, so is like Damon? No, not Damon. Is Wahlberg a rat for Costigan too? But I think I have a bit of a working theory. I feel like because earlier in the movie, Alec Baldwin basically takes him off the case, sends him home 2 weeks with pay, suspends him. I feel like that was done on purpose. I feel like the lieutenant is like, wait to see who comes out of this, then tie it off. So I don't know. I could
Yeah,
be
no, I
completely
believe that's
wrong.
more likely. I believe that he wanted to be taken off the case on purpose because he knows that there's something up with Matt Damon. He knows that he's up to no good, that he might be the potential rat. And I'm surprised that he didn't show up when DiCaprio called him to tell him to show up that I found the rat. He is Costello's rat. I have evidence.
Yeah. So it's a great ending. And at first it was like, that was odd. But then the more I think about it, the better it gets because it just ties together
And
nicely.
did you know that at the end of the movie, when Matt Damon gets killed, you see in the patio, you see a rat coming by, a
Mm-hmm.
rat just strolling through. That's a little done on purpose. That it's metaphorically a rat. He's the rat. If that makes any sense, it's very poetic.
Yeah, it's not exactly subtle, but for what we know about every one of these characters, it fits like a glove. But yeah, so I guess long story short, The Departed is amazing. It's one of Scorsese's very best, and he did it in the 2000s. Like he was 30-ish years deep into his career by this point, and he was just doing nothing but gems by that point.
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely.
and he would do more afterwards. Let's not get that twisted. But it just he was like clicking on all cylinders with this movie. I can tell because just the cast, it just looked like they were just firing on all cylinders. I found out the Queenan role was supposed to be played by Robert De Niro, but instead he ended up directing his one of his only directorial movies, The Good Shepherd, instead of
Oh
doing this.
yeah.
So we could have gotten De Niro along with this cast, but I'm not complaining. Sheen did a very good job. What we ended up getting, it was good.
Yeah, I love that we see that what DiCaprio's going through psychologically. Like he's still not like going through very well mentally when he's working with Costello, and he's seen a lot of the murders that he had been that Costello committed in front of him, and it's fucking with his head, especially when he's in therapy with the doctor, the fucking police therapist. He's losing his fucking mind, and he's going nuts, and he doesn't think he can do this anymore. I love the scene where he was just having a beat up with Mark Wahlberg and Martin Sheen. Like, I can't do this anymore. When are you going to take Costello down? That scene itself was actually top tier. There's so many memorable moments in the movie that I really loved.
The Oscars are full of crap. Let's not get that twisted. DiCaprio should have gotten his Oscar for this. I love The Revenant, and he was very good in The Revenant. He slept in a bear carcass for that movie, so I'm not disrespecting DiCaprio's like work for that, or not a bear carcass, but a horse carcass. So he slept in that. So I'm not disrespecting that. He should have won for The Departed,
He should have won so many Oscars for many top tier movies he's in that he crushed.
pretty
And
much.
yet it took them like years for him to win an Oscar for The Revenant, which it was one of his best performances, don't get me wrong, but it was about time.
But yeah, I pass it off to all of you. What do you all think of The Departed? Let me know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Matt, thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, you're 1/3 of the Small Talk podcast. We're on a bit of a break for the rest of the month because Thanksgiving and all of that. We're at a natural stopping point, but when we return, we're going to start covering season 3, which I am reliably informed is a very good season. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But that is going to be dropping every Tuesday once we start back up. But Matt's link tree is going to be in the description. Do you got anything cool coming up?
Yeah, I got like a couple of things coming up very soon because I recently uploaded the new Taika Waititi movie Next Goal Wins. I uploaded like the new movie The Holdovers, which I hope you guys check that out. And I got Invincible season 2 premiere, but there's still a few videos that I still need to start editing. I'm still working on the editing with the movie Priscilla. I know I'm a little bit behind of putting that out, and I got the recorded an episode of season 2 of Invincible, the second episode, and I just got done recording the new David Fincher movie, The Killers. So keep an eye open. I will be uploading it very soon.
Yeah, like I said, link tree in the description. Matt's got a great channel. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming down the road. And yeah, see The Holdovers. It is one of the best movies of the year by a significant margin. I think I might as well do a review of that myself, but that'll be a little later on. But as for this channel, Scorsese Month will be wrapping up next month, just after the Thanksgiving holiday, on Black Friday, actually, with my review of 2013's The Wolf of Wall Street. And joining me for that from 3D Movie Cinema will be Jacob Collins. Be prepared, a language warning and a content warning just as a precaution, because he's going to go crazy on that, I can just tell. But if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, so when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. For Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Cam. See you in the next one.